beautiful beings. I'm at the base of a tree. I want to know this tree, but I don't. I was gonna say oak, but I'm not. Okay. This is the trunk. This tree. Giving. Look at this. Oh, you know what? I've been wanting to not make up-down videos, but here we are. Oh, here we are. Don't stress. Oh, it's saying the temperature of my device because I'm outside. Okay, maybe wrap this up. So, this is a video about... What is this about? I'm doing more just like off-the-cuff videos and I keep forgetting. I've been writing things down less to be more ancient. And I'm just really putting my brain to work, and it doesn't always work. Relatives, like people you have like blood relation to or family connection to, however you identify that. There was a bunch of big old ants running around on this bark, but last time I filmed too in someone's home, that squirrel like barked at me until I got away. There they are. Da-na-na-na. They were on the tree. You going back? Ooh. Give it. Yeah. Okay, let them live their life. So my thing specifically, I guess, trigger warnings, all those things we're gonna just be talking about, like relative dynamics, social dynamics, family dynamics, red flags, conditioned to be positives, trauma, sexual harassment. Maybe I'll keep it like that, but there's some rape. I might say some words eliciting to trauma, sexual trauma, because that's what I have in my family. So that's kind of the example I'm going to be giving as far as like the rampant sexual trauma in my lineage that is allowed to be rampant. Really, it's allowed to be rampant. It's given compassion and empathy and taught as normal and positive and something to like kind of mitigate or skirt around, but inevitably live within fully. Okay, so my message for this video, I'm still out here on these streets. The universe is telling me to make videos out here on the streets. You had mine in like that park. Okay, but it's too much. Kind of the noise. You know, I have audio sensitivity, so I'm just like, who would ever be out here? And that's why I chill a lot, just like away from it all. Because that silence, that sacred silence, is amazing. I just found some lemon balm. I'm definitely gonna come back around here and harvest some things. Okay, so into it. So my family has that like dynamics where I would say all the cis men, all the socialized men are predatory. They're straight up predatory, and it's been the dynamic goes like, let them hang out, you know, a young person and this predator, let them hang out until something like bigger happens. and then we'll kind of separate them for a while, and then once they're old enough, we'll just kind of like no longer keep up that protection, but there's no like communication or expression about what's happening or why it's happening or that it's not okay. And a lot of times, especially when I'm older now and I have to put up my own protections, I'm noticing how much the socialized femmes are like, go have one-on-one with that predator. You know, maybe you just need to get to know each other better. And I'm like, your suggestion to them, like, inappropriately touching me is to go off alone with them. So that's what I was saying. This might be triggering for folks because it's triggering for me. My granny died. I just went back to like her hometown, my mother's hometown, and just noticed how pervasive it is there. Of course, like my relatives are all in town and they all have it. And I give props to like one of my uncles because our knees were touching and I felt something different. And I think it was him being like, I'm not playing into this predatory behavior. He also like married into the family. So, you know, just kind of how that works out. But just bringing something new where he's like, no thanks. But also not like speaking out against all the other men or like the behaviors, but just letting me know energetically, oh, I'm not about that. You know, and he kind of like tucked himself away. And just also just the genderedness of everything and the like things that come with genderedness, because I literally were packed to the gills in a limo. Everyone's touching knees, but me and my uncles, you know, everyone else, it was like me and my aunt were touching, and then my an aunt and like a nephew, and then like a husband and a wife. Those were all the knees touching. And I could feel me and my uncle's knee were like the most, it made me the most uncomfortable, but I just felt societally it was like, oh, you know, don't be like, I don't know, quote unquote, barking up that tree. I don't know how much to the tree. Don't know what that has to do with trees, but that kind of expression around ooh, they're fast. So I just felt that was uncomfortable. Then my uncle too was like, oh, don't get the wrong idea, you know, because I feel like he felt that societal pressure too, that kind of, and maybe it's just our relative family dynamic where that's kind of the thing. I have predatory uncles who like touch me sexually like that. Like if we were bumping knees, they would have, you know, bumped back a little or also put their arm around me or, you know, it's okay if you got to get in my lap, baby, or whatever. And then I corrected in a way that felt societally okay, familially, family okay, as far as I kind of like got into my aunt's lap and my hand, like, you know, a hand's width away from her crotch felt more acceptable than just touching knees like everyone else was doing. But I had to like get in her lap to feel safe or just like socially acceptable. It was a lot of stuff, but I'm realizing I'm going through my own trauma. I was like molested in diapers and by my uncle when I was probably 6 or 7, and that's when my family was like, oh, we gotta split you up from uncle because he's like escalated. And it was like, it's okay to hang out with him. There's things normalized, like I was saying, you know, leaning into the knee touch. My one uncle will like tickle me, but it's like all in my breasts. I'm just like, he's just like tickle, 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 or like he'll like scare me when I have the hiccups and just like grab my boobs. And those are like what I call just like socially acceptable or like publicly acceptable in my lineage, in my relatives current iteration of the ones alive. That's like how we figure out stuff. So just feeling that, I guess just being in that energy, just feeling that there's all these predatory men, that nobody really is protecting me. There's some little things happening, but really it's allowed to be rampant and pervasive. And now that I'm older, I'm telling you, they're telling me, oh, just get some one-on-one time, get to know him. You know, I'm like, he hasn't changed. They're also usually raging alcoholics. I won't say all of them, but usually raging alcoholics. And I'll also not stigmatize like addiction or anything, but just to point it out as like the emotional absence of someone who's like always using alcohol. I would say always heavily using alcohol. I was really hurt when I got home, just realizing I'm not protected. You know, my mom is just always trying to get me to hang out with these men in my family who are predatory. And I'm like, they're predatory. Why would I hang out with them? And it's just like, you know, men being men. And my granny who just died was always like, my number one son. He literally molested everyone he came into contact with. Raped them, you know, sexually harassed them, pushed past their boundaries, you know, that like quote unquote like good woman trope of just like tolerating all of this. So this is another thing I'm breaking in my family, this cycle. Oh, and what really struck me kind of just all of this is how I want to have like, I'm androsexual, I'm attracted to male adjacent folks, and how I'm literally afraid of male adjacent folks, especially don't believe that they can be role models, or like I would say subconsciously I believe this. It's not what I believe. I would say I'm conditioned to believe these things. I'm conditioned to believe that male adjacent people are like predatory, you know, dishonest, unsafe. I have a whole list of like the things that feel like this predatory behavior, but that's what I learned. I learned that they carry that, but then I have this, and I'm noticing the behavior in like all my past partners is that it usually turns into this socialization that I have, even if we start out like in my current like thought of like utopia and like family and stuff like that. It always, because subconsciously I'm programmed to, I apologize for whatever I'm showing you. I'm realizing sometimes I start talking with my hands and I'm like, la la la. But this bark really wants to be showcased and have all of this texture. Ooh, I like that. I like a dark BB. And so I've been saying baby on this a little bit much. I think I'm having some kind of trauma response to talking about this, which is okay. Which is okay. Folks got trauma.